Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we are going to first take a look at the universal cycle for September 2022, and then we're going to break it down into each individual life path and take a look at those individual forecasts. This, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. Also want to mention that coaching sessions for numerology, coaching with numerology, are now available again via Zoom. So I had to take them down for a little bit for personal reasons, but they are back. So if you wanted to meet face-to-face to have those coaching sessions, they're available again. I have some spots left in September, so get them while they're hot. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at September's energy, what we're working with the numerology, and how best to use that to our advantage, right? Okay, so the universal cycle for September is a 15-6 energy. So collectively, the energy of September can bring about welcomed personal freedoms, as well as larger scale freedoms, like on a global scale. However, keep in mind, the lifting of restrictions or opportunities for great progress often requires some kind of radical change after a more chaotic culmination. So the more radical change allows for a shift or a release from present limitations, allowing for much freer expression and more room to move and breathe. So no one's saying that this is necessarily going to be easy, but what it's allowing for is worth moving through it. So this can be a cycle where experiences sort of assist us in moving away from very rigid, long-held beliefs, and new beliefs can then come in, right, and bring more peace while sort of eradicating old fears. So think of September as the liberator. It's bringing this very liberating energy with it. Now, of course, as I always say, the energy can be present, but it's always what we do with it that's going to make the difference. Like if we put in the effort, if we show up, if we try to work with this energy, we're going to see the greatest rewards. If we fight it, if we try to move away from it, we're still going to get to the other side of it. But it's not going to be as comfortable, and we're just not going to sort of reap what we want. We're going to reap what we sow, right? So this can be a period when we have to be very, very decisive and make very important decisions while deciding whether those choices are self-limiting or setting us free. So overly attaching or clinging to people, things that sort of put us in a space of servitude or obligation, that can create burnout and resentment. So be very mindful about what contracts or what agreements that you choose to enter into during this cycle. If it feels good and liberating, great, go for it. You have the green light, and you probably won't have buyer's remorse. But if it feels restrictive, if it feels burdensome, or you have concerns, maybe try and wait until after this energy sort of passes. So maybe wait until the next month, if you can, right? Until you feel better about it, or again, until you have more information, if you can do that. Of course, we have to live life. We don't base it on the numerology or astrology or psychic predictions or whatever. We have to do what feels right for us in the moment. So just take this as guidance and do with it what you want. I'd also say with this energy, there's a big focus on not judging a book by its cover, especially this month. Outward appearances when it comes to a situation, especially around close relationships and or home life, can sort of cause unnecessary heartaches, trouble in partnerships, or knee-jerk reactions that carry heavy repercussions. So try to dig a bit deeper beyond the illusion to better understand the situation more holistically. Communication is golden, period. Inner realities are more trustworthy than outward appearances. But the more that you can communicate, the more that you're open to communication, the more that you can work through more quickly and just move on. And it may be that the other person is not willing to communicate. That's okay. If you tried, that's all you need to do. But in every situation, communication and real true communication where both parties are able to speak their truth and be heard, whether or not you agree with each other, but just that opportunity for that respect of conversation, just can clear up so much and alleviate so much drama. So I would say, word to the wise, especially in September, if you have an opportunity to open a line of communication, I would say do it. But again, the catchphrase for September, I think, is inner realities are more trustworthy than outward appearances. So really trust your gut, dig deeper, go with how you feel, take your time if you can, and just take your time. Throughout September especially, try to find the lighter side to a situation if you can. Even when we're going through the most difficult of challenges, laughter or even just a smile can change that energy of the moment and lift spirits. Laughter truly is the best medicine, not to sound cliche, but it truly is. And where there's laughter, there's always light. So maybe watch funny movies, spend time with children or playful animals, or surround yourself with people who can just always seem to make you laugh or giggle. We underestimate, I think, the true power and the true energy of laughter, but it is more priceless than any materialistic item on the planet. And we always have access to it. That's the thing. It's just we have to be willing to try to tap into it. When we can find our own ways of sort of looking beyond the limitations of circumstances, we bring about peace and satisfying solutions to that situation. So laughter cleanses the soul and can lead to physical healing. Laughter is a form of freedom. I'm going to say it again because I truly do believe it. Laughter is a form of freedom. So that's your forecast for September for the collective with the universal energies. Let's go ahead and take a look at the numerology and the energies for each individual life path number. Life path number 7. So I pulled an animal spirit message for you all, and you got walrus energy. And what's interesting about this is it really aligns with the undercurrent energy that you all are working with in September, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But walrus energy really brings about almost like this energy of like the 8 of Cups in tarot. So there's something here around potential like abandonment, and really what's kind of coming through is like abandonment of self. So there may be an area within your life where you have like abandoned yourself, like you have neglected yourself, or you have self-sacrificed into an extreme to where you are sort of giving so much of yourself that it's affecting your own peace of mind and your own happiness. And so this energy of walnut, walrus coming through is really assisting you and recognizing where that is, that you have really abandoned yourself, or like, just been like self-sacrificing to the point of losing yourself in a relationship, in a career endeavor, in whatever. So just pay attention to that. You know, the universe energy has a really good way of like highlighting for us where it is, or bringing it to our attention to be like, hey, you're really doing yourself a disservice here. So how can we shift this? There's also this energy around, like with walrus, escapism, or trying to avoid a situation because it feels too intense, or it feels like it gives you anxiety, or it feels like too much to take on, right? You don't want to deal with it. And so there is this energy of like escapism where it's like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this. I'm just going to pretend it's not happening type of situation. And we all know that that can only go so far, and then it's going to resurface to be dealt with. And if we have that feeling of escapism, there's typically a reason. It's something within that's being triggered that we don't want to deal with, we don't want to see. And so we have to eventually deal with it because it's just going to keep coming up. And if it's not with this person, it's going to be with another person. If it's not with this job, it's going to be with another job. And it's just going to keep surfacing until we deal with it. So there truly is no escaping, right? There's also this energy with Walrus around like true seeing. So seeing something for how it really is, as opposed to the illusion. So again, we talked about that in the intro. There's something here around like the way that we're told something is, or the way that we see something is not always the truth behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's typically way more to the story. It's just a matter of like how far we want to sort of dig into it and like how much of the truth we actually want to know, right? And so, and this could also tie in with that escapism a little bit. Like maybe that really truly knowing that truth brings us anxiety or makes us face something within ourselves that we don't want to face. And so we try to escape from it, right? Or seeing that truth, maybe let's use an example, like we're in a relationship, seeing that truth about that person or about the experience or whatever makes us face it, makes us deal with it. And maybe we don't want to, right? Like maybe we just want to like be like, oh no, I'm going to make this work, whatever, whatever I have to do. Excuse me. And so there's something there about the avoidance of it. Like, okay, if I avoid this, then I don't have to deal with it. So we're going to see the truth of the matter if we want to. If we don't want to, then we can continue to avoid it. However, the universe will continue to confront us with that truth in some way. So if it's not learning that lesson through or seeing that truth through a particular person, like I said, another person will show up to sort of drive it home. So there's just a lot here with Walrus energy about, again, like really like diving deeper into something, just really getting in there and just facing whatever it is and dealing with it. And then you are equipped to move forward much lighter, much more in your power, much more enlightened to the situation so that you can make healthy choices, right? For you, that make the most sense for you. What's interesting is sevens are working with this undercurrent energy in September of the 13-4. 13-4 energy is basically like Pluto energy in astrology. It's the death card in tarot. It is death, transformation, rebirth, metaphorically speaking. Although it's very real as well. Like you could potentially go through some major transformations this month, internally and externally. And so often with 13-4 energy, it's going to break down the foundations that are not working. It's going to break down those barriers that are keeping you from the truth. It's going to confront you and continue to confront you until you choose to see what you need to see with the situation so that you can make adjustments, so that you can deal with whatever it is that you're being asked to deal with from your higher consciousness, from your higher self, from the universe, whatever, so that you can deal with that and so that you can move forward, in a leveled up higher octave of yourself, right? And so you're not continuing to carry this baggage, this luggage with you when you don't need to. So 13-4 energy is not easy energy to move through, but it is highly, highly beneficial energy to move through because it doesn't really take any shit. It's going to be like, this is what you have to deal with. You're going to face the transformation. You're going to face the challenges or whatever you need to face to be able to move through this, to be able to make those changes, right? To make those transformations. So it's really hard to have avoidance or escapism with 13-4 energy because it's just really going to keep shining a light on what it is that you need to see. It's very much like Pluto energy. And if any of you have had like relationships or Pluto transits, personal transits, right? With Pluto, I will say, it's like you can try to avoid it as much as you want, but that stuff is coming to the surface and it is going to be dealt with, and it's going to keep coming to the surface until it's dealt with. And again, like I said, like Pluto has all day. So if you if you are like, no, I'm not going to deal with this, it'll keep showing up. It'll keep showing up until you do. So not to like scare you, I'm actually a life path 13-4. So this has just been sort of my jam throughout my life, right? It's also very similar to like scorpionic energy. So it can be incredibly transformative, but it's also like this leveling up energy. It's going to make us face our demons. It's going to make us face the things that we avoid because we have fear around them. And it's going to put it out in the open, and it's going to make you deal with it. And so again, if there's any area where you have been self-sacrificing or like trying to like not rock the boat, so you've been like, just not being authentically you because of fear of how others will react or something like that. This is not a coddling energy where it's going to be like, okay, let's kind of move through this. This is going to be like a tower type energy where it's like, we're dealing with this because you are better than this. Like you can do this type thing. Like you are resilient, you are strong, you are powerful. And the universe is going to show you that with this energy. So it is big energy. And typically you will see change come from that transformation. Change, release, major transformation, major regeneration. And so typically when you move through, now this is just a cycle, it's just for September, right? But typically when you have, especially longer transits of the 13-4 energy, major changes can come through. But honestly, you just need a dose of 13-4 energy and shit gets real quick. But where it leads you to is so incredibly beautiful. That's one of like the sort of mainstays of 13-4 energy. It takes something really dirty, ugly, just barren, and it creates something so incredibly beautiful from it, through its resiliency, through its strength, through its determination, and through the integrity of that energy, right? And so you can think of like the lotus flower. It's very similar to that energy. The lotus flower grows very slowly through mud, and then it's just incredibly beautiful. And I would invite you to sort of look, if you've never read the story of the lotus flower and like how it blooms, right? That process. I would maybe encourage you to read that, Google it and have a look at it this month, because that's sort of you. Like you are the lotus flower this month, and the things that are not serving you are going to really be in your face to fall away, right? But you have to do that work, of course, because ultimately it's up to you. So change is going to be the basis for you this month, but change is the basis for manifestation, right? And creation. So without change, we wouldn't have either. And I'm going to repeat that. Change is the basis for manifestation and creation. Without change, we would not have either. So this can feel really difficult in the moment to move through this energy, but we have to trust the process, because big things could unfold for you in the coming months stemming from these transformations, from these changes that take place for you now, under this 13-4 energy. So I would actually encourage you, if you feel like it, to anything that really surfaces that feels really uncomfortable, or that you're trying to avoid or trying to move away from or not wanting to deal with, that keeps getting thrown in your face type thing, because that's kind of Pluto energy. It's just going to like just throw it in your face, right? Write it down, because there's something significant here. So if something comes up for you and it keeps coming in and it keeps coming in, and it's like, you're going to face this, no matter how difficult it is, I would say write it down, because chances are this is like the initiation point, or this is the culmination point. 13-4 energy can be the culmination, where it's like, this is where, the breakthroughs are made. But I would say write down those sort of epiphanies, those things that come in where you're like, wow, I really need to face this. Write those down, because chances are you will be revisiting it until you're able to move through it. And recognizing whatever it is, the awareness of whatever it is, will give you the power and the strength to be able to find the resources to assist you to move through it, to sort of overcome it or transmute it or regenerate it, whatever. Allow for new perspectives to come in now, new insights, greater clarity and understanding around situations where maybe we've wanted to see things a certain way. that's going to be really difficult under this more like plutonic sort of like 13-4 energy. Like it's going to shine for you exactly where it is that we are seeing things in a way that we want to see them as opposed to how they really are. It's going to get to the truth really, really quickly, whether we want it to or not. And so once we see that, once we have that awareness, obviously we can't go back to not seeing it. We can continue to try to avoid it, but we can't unsee it, right? And so this is 13-4 energy. It's going to make things very, very, very clear. Rigidity will not work under this energy. So you will sort of be forced to be much more flexible and adaptable in your approach towards things. So if there's something that you're working on, if there's something that you're trying to make work or whatever, being too like rigid in your belief systems or whatever, or how you approach things or whatever, that's really going to be tested now because this energy sort of forces you to release attachments, to be very flexible, to be very adaptable. This is a sort of energy, same thing with Pluto energy, where if you're attached to something, chances are that's going to fall away. Not saying it's not going to come back, but chances are it's going to fall away because the truth behind that is, if you're attached to it, you feel like you need it and you don't really need anything because you have everything that you need within, right? And so you will be detached from whatever that is to recognize, oh yeah, I didn't need it. It was just complementing the journey, right? Like, so I enjoyed it, but there's a difference. So just be aware of that as well. If there's anything you're clinging to, anything you're overly attached to, chances are that shit's going to go away. But it'll come back if it's meant to be, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. So rarely are things ever black and white, right? So be prepared for fresh new ideas, fresh new people, fresh new stimulating conditions, or seeing past events in a new light, like seeing past people, seeing past experiences in a new light that makes sense, like sort of like an aha moment. So it could change dynamics from the past. It could change relationships from the past. Blah, 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 blah. New locations. Some of you may change locations just very, very quickly. You may see a shift in that. New opportunities could come in from this new awareness. So be open to it all. Be very open to it all. This is a very adaptable energy. It's going to sort of force you to be adaptable because what you cling to will probably be pulled away, right? And so, if you fight this energy, this will be a very uncomfortable period. Just saying it how it is. If you fight this energy, this will potentially be a very uncomfortable period and you will still get to the other side. Like 13-4, Pluto energy, same thing with like Scorpionic energy. It's not going to just be like, okay, you don't want to do this? Well, let's just back off then. No, it's very much like this is where things need to change so that we can move forward in a much more expansive way for your soul growth or whatever, so that you can accomplish what you wanted to accomplish in this lifetime. So we're going to keep showing up until you figure it out. It's a very demanding energy. So anywho, not to frighten you, sevens, but this is your jam too. Like you all are like, you're the psychics of numerology. Like sevens are so intuitive, so tapped in if you want to be, right? Like you can fight that as well, but eventually it'll come out. Like seven energy is like the most psychic energy in numerology. And so if you're a seven, you're tapped in, you're automatically tapped in, you know, you're meant to be the bridge between the ethereal and the physical, and eventually you'll get there. And this energy is like helping you to do that, right? So if you're way too practical, this energy is also going to help you to like tap into the more spiritual, the more like third eye energy, the more psychic energy, whatever. So you may see some new gifts come through for you also. I would just say for the month of September, be very open to whatever this energy wants to teach you because it's trying to elevate you, it's trying to assist. Okay, I spent a really long time on this, but you all are probably working with some of the most transformative energies this month. But holy guacamole, like the potential of where this energy could lead you for self-empowerment and like you standing in your power and believing in yourself and like all of these things and confidence and not allowing yourself to be disrespected in a way that like through like manipulation or like others trying to tell you what to do or whatever, or staying in a situation that's not serving you, right? Okay, I have beat that horse. Okay, so I hope it's a beautiful September for you all. I do think it's potential to be very powerful. I will say for some of you, if there's nothing that you need to like work through like this, or there's no avoidance, or there's nothing that's, you know what I'm saying? Like you may not even feel this. Like you may just have to hold space for someone else who's going through it. But I would say most sevens are probably going to feel this. This is very potent, powerful energy. So anywho, I hope it's a beautiful September 7th. Take care. Bye for now.